Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ogre coming to you with some more Steel Division Normandy 44. Today on Marderet, or Marderet, we have ourselves a 2v2 spawning down on the southern side. We have LVA Delta playing as a 3rd Canadian Infantry, and his ally over here, Mine Trap, playing as the Guards Armored Division. Now, spawning up here in the north, we have Eugen Please Nerf Rakietten, which makes me laugh, I don't know why. Plays a 3rd Fallschirmjaeger, and Triple X Heil Triple X plays the Panzer Lehr division. Now, I stated already, we have the Marderet map, and this map is very interesting. You have this entire area right here that you can pretty much either minimally work through, or you have these wide open areas over here. It's kind of bocage country, but only barely so. A lot of angular fighting as you're looking across most of these positions. Center part of the map is not, well, it's still vital, but it's not the same kind of insanely vital position that you see in a lot of other maps here. But just a bare few bits of buildings here and there to worry about, and even then, these are not particularly extensive buildings. Now, one thing I do want to see, and I don't know if anyone has actually shown this yet in a game, I do want to see, I suppose you can have hand-to-hand combat, but I've never seen anyone successfully actually push into a building for hand-to-hand combat, so honestly, as this game even really begins, someone out there, if you have a game, you've seen a game where that happens, I want to see it, because I kind of want to see what that mechanic looks like. Amusingly enough, there's this nice little pocket in the middle part of this woods right here. It's a safe zone. Regardless of that, we are going to see the beginnings of troops being set up by Delta's 3rd Canadian. Lots and lots of infantry here. So a little bit of scouts, of course, but tons of infantry. Now for the guards are a very, very simple start. You just bring in 2 Cromwells on in, and these things are stupidly expensive, but the early guards material is frankly very powerful. Remember, these are like the troops who have like names of like a pedigree that's like a yard long. It's insane. All kind of like minor nobility at the absolute minimum. On the opposite side, we are going to see that 3rd Fallschirmjaeger is over here going to try to maybe drive up this eastern road and curve in and around. If nothing else, they can fall back on this town, but if they've done that, if they're forced back to that position, they've already lost all of this material up here, so it's probably unlikely they're going to stop there. At the same time, though, we're going to see more Fallschirmjägers setting up on this road as it curves around. Now, maybe what they're trying to do is drive up this line here. Excuse me, I had to sneeze real quick. So anyway, maybe they're driving up this mainline road right here. I'm kind of wondering if they're doing that. It might be better for them just to set up behind this Kuppelwagen and half-track recon that's right here in the middle part of the map. And you can see a lot of material being dropped on down, so attack beacons, of course, right here. So Rakietten says, you know, start here, start pushing forward, and maybe split the position between the two, and that's a very viable option here. This major line, you can see, well, there's a land reinforcement on both sides, right on the 50% mark of the side. But if you can split enemy divisions, maybe fight against both sides at the same time, especially if you can back up against this forest, you should be in pretty good shape, I would say. But perhaps it's being modified right about now as Willie's MMG is being placed on that center position. And it really does feel like Please Nerf Rakietten is going to be the major player in this one. We can see all the Panzer Lehr material is going to run down this rail line. Between half-tracks and infantry, okay, we have actually a little bit of a group splitting on the way. And that initial meeting and engagement, I would suspect, is going to happen almost right about the 50% yard line. You can see it's already beginning to gel the front lines a little bit here and there. And the more that I experience this game, the more I love it. It's a fantastic, fantastic game. It's very well done. Yes, there's some balance issues already, but the game came out a week ago, guys, or a couple weeks ago. I think we should be okay to kind of be a little bit more understanding of this material. Another Rakietten? Okay, so he's really putting a lot of emphasis on these forests, and I kind of understand that. If you can get to the edge of the forest, you control a huge amount of this area. SPW, they're going to start firing off into this Bedford if you can get any kind of strong action against it. Okay, well, he is laying down some covering fire here, but already we're going to see this infantry getting pushed on back. Now, Germans did manage to get a slight advantage. Only about 24 tickets ahead, but it's not too surprising. Quick Panzer Pack 38 shot takes out a Jeep over here, and it does look like now that Cromwells are getting in on the action. So the question is, can the Panzer Lehr over here deflect these Cromwells? These guys are very, very good early on. And check out those stats. A lot of armor-piercing value against vehicles, and not too bad in terms of HE either. This Cromwell over here is much more for let's call it direct fire, and direct infantry fire at that. We're seeing a 50-50 clash all along the front of the battlefield here. Vickers setting on up, pouring fire into these Fallschirmjägers. And please nerf Rakieta seems to really be struggling a little bit. However, there's a Penta up there waiting for this ram to come nice and close. Oh, this could be amazing or it could be awful. There we go. I just want to see if this first round takes him on out. We'll get back to the rest of the other side of the map in a second here, but this is like that momentary ambush that just, it's either perfect or it sucks. Okay, they're loading on up, my friends. There we go. There goes the ram. There's something satisfying about that. I don't know why. We said that perfect ambush. You know what's going to happen. On the German left, though, Heil is getting beat up a little bit. He is being sent straight to Heil, it sounds like. His own Kubels are exchanging gunfire with the light reconnaissance vehicles of the guards, but his front is sagging badly. He does take out the light recon vehicles, but these tanks just come on in. And the early Panzer Lehr has some really great armor. And you can tell that right there. He just took out that one Cromwell. But similarly, there's also a great opportunity for the half-tracks to be kind of outmatched very, very early on. Germans do manage to take a 52% lead here. Ooh, we're going to see a TOT barrage on this forest, and it looks like we're going to see these poor stormtroopers running right on through it. Now, the stormtroopers are rather interesting. They have smoke grenades, they have TNT, Stens, and MP40s. Now, the reason for me it's kind of interesting is that MP40s, it wasn't common in World War II for a lot of German equipment to be utilized as being superior, I would say, to the Allied stuff. Yes, the machine guns were seen as being very, very good. But a lot of the anti-personnel weapons, I might be wrong, but I haven't seen a lot of material, at least on the Western Front, where that was a common effect. And maybe I'll try to rephrase that so it comes off a little bit more like English as opposed to my particular brand of Ulrich English that we hear right now. Orchard has fallen now over to the guards. Guards trying to push out against these Panzer Grenadiers, but they need to be concerned about the fact that this pack is reorienting himself. If he gets through the trees, all of these vehicles are dead. See a very good chunk into that forest right there. Excuse me, into the orchard right here. It's not going to be easy. We're back to 50-50 split, though. Both players... This was passed along to me as a skilled players map, and as of right now, I cannot say that I'm disappointed at all. We have seen some very, very good early play, although right now we are going to see the guards driving very, very hard right up this area through the orchard. Only now starting to swing around and maybe get their way up this small kind of country lane over here. Panzer Grenadier is going to run right into the Reckies, but the Reckies are not going to fire. You see that deactivated Sten guns. And this is something I had not realized until recently, that you can legitimately just pick off certain weapons to be used or not used simply by selecting each weapon here. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I just gotta throw my guys into the front line and hope for the best. But even now, the Panzer Grenadiers were able to kind of stop the immediate push by these Grens and these rifles, the half-track backing up, putting rounds into this SDF. Well, half-track, dear God, I can never actually say that the appellation of that. Pack, in the meantime, has taken out that command Cromwell, so that's a big loss over for the guards earlier. And it looks like some stormtroopers and some flamethrowers were pushed back and taken out. A Panzer L6. Now, this is kind of a weird vehicle. Based off an Italian model. Very, very light. You can see, obviously, it's got a 20mm gun and a 7.92mm machine gun. A lot of the Italian material was obsolete by the time World War II even came around in the first place. So if Germans were using it at this particular time, it's because they were desperately, desperately needing it. And let's be fair, the L6 was a light tank that I guess really provided needed firepower to the flightier divisions, let's say. TOT barrage is being thrown out, not carelessly, but just very, very consistently. But I don't think the stormtroopers are going to be able to be caught by this. I think they're going to get out of the... Oh no, they're not. They're hanging tough. Okay, alright, never mind. A new rush of half-tracks keeps the German material mobile, and specifically allows them to kind of put a lot of firepower on any kind of charging infantry. But these Kubels is going to be exchanging fire again with this half-track, and I don't think it's going to go particularly well for the Kubelwagen. Again, that is just a machine gun, my friends. Alright, oh, this is going to be beautiful. Actually, barrage right there. So let's get in on this one. We're going to see a nice bit of firepower onto these stormtroopers. No, they're going to move back out. Oh, pinned down. This could be bad. Okay, well, we see a bit of surrendering material already. This Wasp is also allowing a push against this machine gun. And the Fallschirmjaegers are coming back over here, maybe to put a Faust into the side of the Wasp. In that 100 meters? Not quite yet. Okay, he sees him now, so this guy's doomed. Oh, no. First one misses. Aligning again. Alright, gonna get another round off. Quick, fire it now! Fire! Stressed. He's not, oh my gosh, he's not gonna be able to escape this one, is he? Alright, and the artillery barrage over here. Forgive me for missing that one. We also saw a kangaroo carrier coming on in. Weird things, kangaroo carriers. Imagine the Bradley, but I guess the kind of UKF version of that. Some of the infantry was taken out as well, kind of pushing them back significantly. And now it's the Allies, though, who have themselves a bit of an advantage on the field. 52 for them, as opposed to the 48 of the Germans. Now, a very, very abrupt fallback is happening. Ooh, a Poopchen! Ah, these things. Okay, Poopchen. Imagine a Kettenwerfer, more or less, but it fires an 88mm heat ammo. It was a very, very interesting weapon. And yes, I know the Poopchen was actually another name for the Kettenwerfer, but in many cases, it actually was, I think, a specific model that was separate from the material that we all know and love from the Company of Hero family of games. Allies have taken a small lead here as we're heading into Phase B. And I'm a little bit worried about how the third Fallschirmjaeger might get outscaled here. I'm not even sure what the heck this thing is. 800 meters, mortar of some kind, I would assume. Cargo space, light. In the meantime, we're just going to see a lot of action over here on the western side of the map. Germans have pushed back the Canadians, taking out a lot of the light vehicles, and with that falling back 6-pounder, Germans should be able to drive down this road and maybe, just maybe, curve in and around. Unlikely already. You do seeing more Rams being brought on in, and kangaroo carriers with a lot of infantry, and a Lloyd carrier. So I don't know. Someone might want to correct me on this one. Williams, they might want to take this one. A Lloyd carrier, I think, was the UK version, basically, of a super, super, super early Bradley. I might be wrong. And it's just like an amphib carrier kind of coming onto the field. Very half-track heavy, so we'll see how that goes there. Anyway, getting back to the fight here. We now have hit Phase B. Puma's coming on in to support, I would call it the ailing axis left. Against the guards, it's very, very difficult to push on in against them. And forgive me, guys, I keep the sound a little bit low because if I get on in, it gets super, super loud here. So if you have issues with the sound, please let me know. I'll definitely boost that a little bit more. But the Panzer Lehr division, well, I get some excellent material like Tigers. They don't come in until you are able to stock up quite a bit of requisition. What's more, you actually have to have them in your army deck in the first place, so it's really kind of a stylistic call. Lord Care trooping on in with another anti-tank gun, and it looks like the Allied left has stabilized. The Canadians throwing forces to stopgap that push. However, these Panzer Abwehrs are just deadly. Just Shrek after Shrek taking out vehicles over there. Meantime, are we see Panzer Grenadiers trying to shift on forwards? People actually seeing them is the question. I don't know, but that 25-pounder is a deadly, deadly beast. And these Panzer Grenadiers, I seem to feel like are a little bit stymied. Now, a positive sense over here for these particular Panzer Grenadiers is that while they're coming under a lot of machine gun fire, this orchard area right here is rather good to keep them away from all this guards material, these Cromwells, all that infantry, and now this is an Axis field right here. Not that it's going to do them a whole lot of good, because they cannot yet get tight against these Cromwells. And frankly, if the Cromwells get right here, this becomes a field of death. And just, like, again, I kind of love this game. Oh. They look a little bit silly sometimes, but, you know, still pretty darn good. So we're seeing, yep, there is the BEF Tiger. So that is the Panzer Lehr, I would say, answer to the guards over on the Axis left. Now this light Panzer over here is completely damaged, track's been broken, but the Canadian push is being taken out one by one by one by one. And charging Jaegers might compel a good number of these guys to surrender. And if that happens, that is quite a loss. So Delta, I don't know if he's not paying attention what the deal is, but we might see one after another just surrendering here. Oh, they're all falling back now. Okay, that's very, very lucky. That could have been a significant loss there. But it's still 52% to 48 on the German side of things. And this is a very interesting vehicle. Third Fallschirmjaeger is not my favorite division. I'm always the kind of guy who likes playing with armored vehicles. So to see some of the material that they do have is rather interesting to me. Stormtroopers kind of hopping on around behind the German position. And we're going to see Hinkle finally making a gun run. The question is, where's he doing it? Oh, he's going to go after that 25-pounder. I would warrant. No. No, he's not. Kind of thought he would. But I don't think he is. Okay. Maybe he doesn't see him after all. Shame. 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 Alright, these Panzer Grenadiers over on the Axis left are taking a great amount of firepower here, falling back, getting carved to pieces, I would argue, by these Bren guns and all of these half-tracks. These Pumas trying to do their best, though, to support their kind of faltering comrades. And might be able to take out one or two of these positions. No, that's unlucky for them. This Cromwell, in the meantime, is putting rounds into this Puma, so as they fall back, what had been a decent German counter has been countered itself in turn. Then we got some Stormtroopers over here. These are basically the Canadian version of the Recce's. More or less. They don't really kind of get hit by the same penalties as some of the other material. And a TOT barrage coming on down here. Pounding. This guards material right here. Yes. No, sorry. This is the Canadians right here. Compelling a very, very quick surrender. And forcing everybody else back in disarray, I would argue. Now, this Fallschirmjaeger squad is taking a lot of firepower from these Kangaroo carriers, but these guys only amount to single M2 HB. So while it's damaging, but it's not quite enough, I would say, to really, really destroy them. And yes, this is a mortar-type device. Alright. Canadians continue to lag badly over here on the left-hand side. Every single time they bring in another tank, it just gets blown apart in seconds. Now, here's the gun run. 37mm cannon could be more than enough to take out something here. Really surprised we haven't seen it yet. Tracks broken, crew killed. There goes that Wolverine. That thing is an open top vehicle in the first place. So that M10 just gets pounded into smithereens. And that's just super, super unlucky. Now, okay, that LG-40 is taken out by a lucky shot of the 25-pounder. And Spitfire coming in, taking out the Henkel, but in turn might get taken by the ME-109. Were I him, I'd be pulling out right about now. But no, he won't do it. He's hanging tough. He's got those M2 HBs as well as the 20mm cannon. It's really a crapshoot to see who could win that one. Now, this is a ace as well. So he's not going to get stressed anywhere near as quickly as his more unseasoned opponent. But with the second Spitfire on the field, this could be enough. And now here's time, if I was safe, for the ME-109 to kind of book it out of there now. Interesting to note, neither plane has really been running any kind of anti-air, and as the Me-109 gets pounded into the dirt, we are going to see ourselves another push coming out from the guards especially. We could see a very, very well-timed TOT barrage to take out this 25-pounder, and in Bedford, poof, one squad goes up in smoke. Another round coming down anywhere near the center part of this map, this area, might be devastating, I would say, for Delta's immediate prospects. But no, so one squad of infantry getting taken out blithely, just pounds them into dirt. Get back to the center part of the field. So the center part of the field that I was talking about would have fighting over these two sections of buildings did not quite hold true. Yes, we are seeing a lot of action happening here. Indeed, as a kangaroo carrier goes out, well done, I would say, to... was it him? I don't think so. I would have sworn I would have been that Panzer Shrek. But a lot of action instead happening right along this kind of bocage line right here. Now, the bocage country in France was just a devastating area. Just tons and tons of hedges all over the place. Very, very difficult to penetrate. What's more, I didn't even really appreciate... The Germans hold this orchard as well as these two forested areas. So approaching along... approaching over here along this road is almost impossible. A single gun could just either see and suppress or otherwise just destroy that material. Looks like the 25-pounder did go down eventually. And this one line of forest right here, this bocage, is able to keep the two Allied divisions effectively separated. And a very, very brilliant use of the territory, I would say. Now, it's luckily enough for the Panzer Lehr that their opponents don't have any manner of indirect fire to kind of hit this area. You can see right now this 25-pounder is out of ammo. We're seeing a fair few number of Fireflies coming on in, and that BEF Tiger, okay, he still exists. I'm wondering really what's been done to combat this Allied push here. So for that matter, what does Heil see? He has no idea they're there. He knows that a Sherman exists somewhere over there. But for the moment, he seems a little bit blind to the danger. Luckily enough for him, I would say that this Mine Trap's troops are not well placed to kind of leverage this armored equipment. This entire orchard just blocks all line of sight for him. Not to mix it on a round, will that be any kind of worthwhile. But alright, so it seems the Allied position in the middle has been kind of compromised a little bit. We are going to see again another push by the 3rd Canadians, but the 3rd Canadian needs some armored vehicles. It needs some fire support. It needs an airstrike, something to break the German lines here. Heck, this Panzer, this infantry, basically this Italian infantry Panzer, has been sitting with broken tracks for probably 5 or 6 game minutes, and yet he's still not dead. That just, for me, this kind of boggles my mind. So Delta having a little bit of an issue over on the left. Mine Trap, again, it kind of goes back and forth. Does he have success? Does he not have success? I can't give you a 100% answer on that one, unfortunately. But as we go into Phase C, we might see ourselves some more good armored vehicle play. The LG is putting rounds like crazy into this Kangaroo. And I think, after all, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this is actually kind of like one of those first setup recoilless anti-tank platforms. I need to really do some research into that. I don't really know. And finally, at long last, we can see a Priest dual drive over here. This guy's technically, I think, amphibious. Yep, there you can tell that by that awful smokestack on the back. He's got himself a very good artillery platform here. And wow. Wow, this massive gap being held just by stormtroopers. That's really strange to me. Similarly, we're going to see another rifle squad over here that has a lot of territory to kind of control. Phase C has started, though, which means there's more half-tracks coming on in with more infantry. And the Germans, which had a very, very strong opportunity to push on forwards, well, they seem to be falling back now. Not so much in disarray, but a little bit of confusion. More infantry sliding in and around. If there's another brilliant TOT barrage that could be happening, first of all, to find either this 25-pounder or just to kind of lock down the center part of the area here, it would be very, very interesting enough to me. Vaquieta is just going to pour some more artillery into the area. And another swath of Canadians is heading right back up to the front. Kieta's bringing more infantry over on his side of things. If he can curve in and around, he can still stabilize and push back the Allies, I would argue. Or hope. I'm not sure which one I'm really thinking at the moment. Another Tiga coming on in. Königstiga this time. And still, the Shermans and Fireflies have not seen really any action whatsoever. We've seen some firepower right now being levied at this half-tracks. So maybe Heil has seen the danger approaching him. But for the moment, he doesn't seem too concerned by it. His tanks are not really moving forward. His anti-tank guns are hitting tight, and I guess that's almost understandable. And now I think we have a Nebelwerfer on the field. Because we're just seeing crazy amounts of rockets coming on out here, guys. Panzerwerfer, forgive me. Now, Panzerwerfers are very, very interesting beasts. Ammo explosion right there. Like Cromwell is clearly working his magic. Panzerwerfers are interesting beasts. So these rockets are heavy unaimed fire, but the Nebelwerfer was never really specifically made to be kind of like a killer. It was made to kind of be a giant pain in the ass. Well struck right there by that. Was that the ME-109 as well? Ground attack? No, a Focke-Wulf 190. So brilliant shot takes out 2 squads, and now here's another artillery strike. The 3rd Fallschirmjaeger may not have a ton of armored threats, but these artillery strikes have just been very, very well placed. You can tell he stabilized his position over here in the west against the 3rd Canadian. And if he can just hit one of these 3 pieces here, honestly, if he takes out the Sherman 5, that'd be brilliant, but that seems very, very unlikely. Königstiga, what can he see? He sees some infantry, so... You know, I mean, not too much really to write home about, but could be some good work. Alright, so this TOT barrage, Focke-Wulf is coming right back on in again. Pinned on down, he goes down. Jeez, 2 twin Spitfires coming in after him. Now, falling back through an artillery barrage seems like a very, very bad idea. You can tell one of those happening already. Infantry going down, half-track going down. One or two more rounds might be enough to blow something else out of the water. It's a 210mm artillery strike, so that's nothing to sneeze about. But we are in Phase C now. And with Spitfires kind of just patrolling the area, I would not feel too good about my chances if I'm a German aviator. Cromwell finally seeing some action, putting some fire over into this infantry. Now, Königstiga barely moving forward. Tiga as well being very, very delicate, and I can understand his concern. He's a command tank, it busts all the leadership and skills in the area, but he's got to start pushing, maybe slightly tightening a bit more aggressively. Then again, with 52% of the map, not going to be very easy for the Allies to take it back. They have to be the ones being aggressive. It doesn't have to be the Axis pushing on in. Another Tiga coming on in for Heil. And he's coming up the center line here. The question is, a 6-pounder could do some decent damage if it's not taken out. Of course, say if it's not taken out, as if someone's going to be like, hey, you know what, there's an anti-tank gun. You can leave it there. Just shoot my troops in the side of the, or the rear. It's perfectly okay with me. Another TOT barrage. Kangaroos falling right back into it, too. And again, these guys are open-topped, so yeah, one good hit, these guys are going to get blown to pieces. Wow. It's just like kangaroo all over the place. Now, if they were in the judicial system, it'd be kangaroo courts. Dad jokes for days. Yep, kangaroos falling back. We see some more infantry surrendering. Probably a good idea right there for those poor guys. It's coming under intense scrutiny. And the 25-pounder shoots anywhere in this area, this could be devastating. It's a ton of infantry, there's a fair amount of half-tracks, and this Pak-38 is coming under a lot of firepower for these 25-pounders. Effective fire, for that matter, as well. 1 or 2 more rounds will be enough to take him. But alright, Tiga trooping on forwards. He doesn't quite see the danger that's ahead of him. But he's got some really, really good armor, of course. The Tiga is a strong, strong tank. If he can keep his front onto the 6-pounder, we'll be in great shape. That's really the question, isn't it? So the 6-pounder is going to put a round out down range, and the Tiga finally sees his Tormentor. And he's got a good chunk of material going back the other direction. 2 bursts of firepower takes that poor guy out. Another Focke-Wulf ground attack coming on in. I'm surprised not... Nope, there he goes. He's falling back. The current of anti-air. Jeez. At long last, we see a Tri-Polstein coming on out. Polstein coming on out. That's insane. Okay. Wow. Incredible. Alright, meanwhile, over on the Axis left, the Allied right, these Cromwells continue not to push at all. I kind of get the feeling that the Allies are just kind of forcing themselves into like one more grand push. But as of right now, they're just throwing a lot of troops in the line and not really being aggressive with them. Shermans for days, Cromwells for days, Fireflies up and just upgun Shermans, obviously. It doesn't seem like that's really the most effective option here. We are seeing some Jaegers falling back almost off the side of the map, but for the moment, it does seem the Axis right is rather stabilized. Pupchen coming on forward. This guy's got great armor piercing. He's not going to see very much. I'm really waiting to see. This feels like a storm is about to break. Ah, Ernst Bachmann. Okay, so the Panzer Lehr division. Ernst Bachmann was a tiger. It's like a massive, massive Panzer ace. I can't even tell you how many particular kills he's gotten. Frankly, because I haven't done enough research into him. But, jeez, look at these stats. 17 armor piercing. This guy is a god among men. But of course, it is only a Panther A, so not quite as well armored as, especially on the sides, as some of the other material that could be utilized. Double for Panzerwaffe getting right back into this, stressing out all of the Allied armor just as it's making a push. Just as it's making a push, they get him stressed out. And Bachmann is able to see them. Crew killed. There goes one Cromwell already, and the Allied attack stalls before it even begins. Yes, the Pak-38 finally goes down the 50mm gun, getting pwned by by Artie. But that was almost as if the Germans knew exactly what was about to happen. And dear God, if they didn't just punish it immediately. Sherman 5 might go down here. Yep, there we go. Another one going down. Explosions galore, my friends. Transmission damage on one of the Fireflies. It bounces off for the moment, but this Tiger has great range. 1,200 meters. Is he finally out of it? Nope, never mind. There goes that poor Firefly. So Owl City has nothing to do with it. Those guys are still going down. And these Spitfires are flying in perfect formation. Jeez, that's like Blue Angel flying right there. They're just snug as a bug on a drug. And a massive bit of air combat. Okay, so these Me-109s coming in just to distract from the attacking Focke-Wulf. And he doesn't even get his bomb off. No, he does. He takes out the Assault Pioneers. Okay, so this Pupchen has now taken out one Kangaroo. And if he gets close at all, he's going to see and take out the other one as well. Hankel making a gun run and it backs off almost immediately. Now, what the heck are these poor boys right here? 258. Okay. Oof. This Focke-Wulf has already taken down one of the Tormentors. Another Spitfire Mark 9 is still in the area. And there's not that much attack behind, that much aggression from the Focke-Wulf at the moment. He's achieved what he needs to do. You can see now, okay, so the Allies have been able to take this one bocage right here, but there's a Tiga on the other side that's just going to destroy anybody who charges forward. You can see already pinning him down, doing a lot of damage. Bachmann's sliding in around as well. He's going to catch out these half-tracks and just tear them to pieces. Okay, and as well as his friendly neighborhood Tiga doing a lot of damage as well. Let's see, one goes down, another one's falling back. And I think the Allied positions become untenable at this time. Half-tracks trying to drive forward to put more fire into the infantry here, but geez, half-track after half-track just gets blown apart. Again, look, 1, 2... Ooh, Bachmann goes down! Bachmann goes down by a Firefly. So a big push by just crazy amounts of guards, tanks, Achilles pattern Sherman. So these guys are going to storm on in. Shermans? Wait, were they Sherman platforms? Williams? This is your Balowick. Tell about the Achilles. But Bachmann goes down, so the ridiculous Panzer Ace is not able to get the effect perhaps on the map he wanted to. Although he did stop that push before it even really started. Mosquito coming on in. Here come the bombs. He's just dropped 230 kilogram bombs, so 500-pound bombs coming on in. If there's hit anywhere near on these half tracks, yep, they're all going to fall back. So all four of these guys kind of hanging out, like, maybe we should just kind of... We were never here. You never saw us. Firefly coming up in close support. You going to put rounds into the half tracks? Well, one's going to get hit by... Ooh, Fireflies are coming in like crazy. So the Panzer Lehr was doing very, very well, and now some bad stuff's starting to happen, my friends. Huge push by the Guards Armored. These late-game tanks are ridiculous beasts. And the visual of this is just kind of gorgeous. Come on. Oof. Of course, I say that, and immediately this Tiger E puts a couple of rounds into these charging Achilles. But no, I don't think it's going to be enough per se. This Tiga just gets taken out. This poor guy's getting taken out as well. Thank you so much, Piats. But bombs away. And two of these guys are falling back. And another Tiga coming on in. Not the greatest of sightlines. Like another round off or two. Falling back. We got a nice LOS right down this road. And the question of whether or not this Achilles can kind of take him out. And the answer to that is not really. He's going to fall back in just sheer terror, it looks like. Germans continue with a 55 to 45 advantage here. And we're coming up to the end of the replay here, and I'm wondering if this is going to be a tap out by the Allies. And if it is, it's coming right quick. It looks like the Axis is going to pull out a victory here unless some magical thing occurs. So well played to Please Nerf Rakieta and XXX Heil XXX. And my chap says taps out. He's like, yo, bro, I'm out of this. Forget it. So well played to the Axis players on that one. This was Marderet, after all. Marderet. So, wow. A lot of the material, a lot of the stress really was carried by, it looks like, the 3rd Canadian. See, the kill percentage between the two is very, very different. Meanwhile, for the Germans, a much more equal kind of position on both points right here. History, yeah, this is just a massive, massive kill fest. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gameplay. 3rd Canadian, though, is able to claim a lot of lives from the Fallschirmjaegers. But in the meantime, again, this guy right here is just a hero. I never would have thought that an Italian-style tank would have been a hero in a battlefield here, but you know what? He made it happen. But yes. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in for another Steel Division Normandy 44 game here. As always, if you have one you want me to check out, please email me at connorgaming@gmail.com. And if you have your own desire of what to see on this channel, let me know as well. If nothing else, hit me up in the comments or subscribe below. Hit that like button, and I will see you guys all soon. This is Connor signing off. Take it easy, everybody.